So again, we're starting to see those banking stocks coming under pressure. We know that Kenya Commercial Bank, one of those stocks that not really responding very positively to the news that no interest rate movement coming through, still sitting at 18%. So this is going to create a concern with regards to how banks are going to deal with this very high interest rate, because it's not going to be very beneficial for consumers down the line.
Well, yes, I think we will see the loan books suffer to an extent, but I think the fact that they did accept to restructure loans has helped to an extent, because we wouldn't be expecting a major upward shift in the default or the bad loan book. What we are going to see is a slowdown in new borrowing, which of course is one of the biggest revenue earners for the banks, and that is definitely going to have a negative effect on their bottom line.
And Kenya Commercial Bank, Samuel, was one of those favorite stocks. Do you think that it is going to experience a lot of negativity going forward? As we mentioned earlier, it's down over the session around 1% in the red.
No, not in the long term. They still have very strong growth prospects. They're still expanding, very heavily and aggressively across the region. And I believe that the fact that their operations in the sister markets, Tanzania, Uganda, I think Sudan, have already gone into profitability, which is also helping to hold up the operation in Kenya. So I think in the long run, investors are still very confident in Kenya Commercial Bank and the likes of Equity Bank and the likes of NIC. And I think the outlook now is more towards what is happening on a regional basis rather on just the local front.
This week we are expecting numbers out of Safaricom, and we've actually seen quite a nice rally coming through for the company, sitting at around 3 shillings 45. It's now dropped to around 3.40 or so, and there is a very strong expectation that we could see a recovery on the earnings front. In fact, very strong numbers. Do you think that we are anticipating on the ambitious front as opposed to being very modest? Because if we do see a bit of a disappointing number, that could mean a bit of negativity for Safaricom going forward.
Well, I'm betting on the fact that seeing that the onslaught from the other players has somewhat relented, and Safaricom has held their ground, and I think that will translate into good numbers for Safaricom, which I believe that will definitely play well for Safaricom. I think they're going to show stronger earnings, and I'm looking at probably a better earnings per share for this period.
Okay, so Samuel, would you say that at 3.40 it is a buy?
Yes, I'm looking at say over 1 year we should expect it to go towards the 4 shilling 50, 4 shillings 90 cents, and so I think it is still quite undervalued, and I think that Safaricom is one of those stocks that offer a very strong long-term investment opportunity on the Nairobi Stock Exchange.
Okay, so let's touch on Bharti Airtel as well, and we're also expecting some interesting numbers to come through for the fourth quarter. At the end of the day, we are expecting slightly softer numbers. We know that a lot of the discounts that they've offered consumers not very sustainable in the long term. We're also looking at the internet connect fees in Kenya that has also been in dispute. What is your sense with regards to the competitive environment? Are you expecting more of a stabilization to occur between the likes of Bharti Airtel and Safaricom?
Well, we did see first quarter increase. Actually, Safaricom did better in terms of new subscriptions than the competitors, which is why I think that they are going to see a resurgence. And I also think that the fact that they did not play into the hands of the likes of Bharti in the price war and continue to stand their ground on the fact that the prices that were coming out in voice tariffs were not sustainable, tended to work in their favor rather than in their against them. So I think that Safaricom have actually done quite well on that front. And on the data front, I think a majority of new internet subscriptions in the country are actually on the mobile networks, and that means that we are going to see a surge in the increase of revenues from the data front. We do also expect to see the money transfer continuing to bring in very strong revenues. And with those, I think any change in voice tariffs, which I think will probably be either flat or record a slight increase, then we are definitely going to be seeing good results this time. In my opinion.
East African Breweries, Samuel, has appointed a new CEO, and for last week we actually saw it one of the top gainers on the stock exchange, up almost 2%. Again, one of the top movers in yesterday's session. East African Breweries, would you say that there's a very positive story that is playing out for the company?
Well, I think East African Breweries is actually growing, or is actually grooming their management unit to be a more global unit. And I think we have seen them moving or shuffling the top brass in the company around, and we have seen changes in their management, not just in Kenya. I think Diageo has been taking a new view, and I think this is in a way looking for new ideas, looking for new ways in a more competitive markets. And I think that Kenya's market is getting very, very competitive. We have the likes of EA Breweries, and we have the likes of Heineken coming into a market. We have various new players coming into the market, and this is definitely informing East Africa Breweries' moves in trying to at least find a way or new ideas in which to actually come out on top. So I think that these changes in management definitely are showing that the company is looking for new strategies and is working towards shifting into a better strategy to take on the onslaught.